Derbyites, we're back for episode 2 of season 4 of Outlander, Do No Harm. I'm Rob Licuria.
I'm Paula.
And we are here once again as Gold Derby's resident married couple to talk about your favourite TV married couple and your favourite show, Outlander. So, Do No Harm. This one was pretty good. I enjoyed this. I can see where the show's going now, and I think it's starting to get into a really nice rhythm. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I call episodes like this chess piece moves, in the fact that characters need to get to where they need to be for the story to continue. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but it was a bit of a chess piece move episode.
Yeah, it was. Let's read through the synopsis for people just to reacquaint themselves with what happened. So Claire and Jamie visit his Aunt Jocasta at her plantation, River Run. Claire immediately feels the pain of being a woman out of time, surrounded by the oppression of slavery. Meanwhile, Jamie's reconnection with his long-lost Aunt Jocasta results in a public announcement that blindsides him and horrifies Claire. When tragedy strikes at the plantation, Jamie and Claire find themselves caught between what's right and the law of the land, ultimately facing an impossible decision. Now, straight away, that brings me to this. This was like the slavery episode.
Yeah.
Because really what this show does on many occasions, because Claire is from the present day. She's a modern woman of the world. She's a scientist, or she's a doctor. She's got degrees. She's smart. She's independent. She's in time frames where that is not necessarily the case. And she has always got that internal kind of fight about whether she breaks out of what she's in, the time period that she's in, or whether she just kind of goes with the flow. And this is another example where she obviously is horrified by slavery. We all would be. Well, most of us, I think, would be. And yet she has to kind of navigate her way through what is a very difficult situation.
She does. And I really felt for her in this episode. And just the facial expressions Katrina has through this entire episode, she doesn't need to have any dialogue. It's just all on her face, which, and you really do see the struggle that she has. And then Jamie basically has to remind her that this is the time period you're in. This is what is considered normal for this time.
Yeah. And it was almost like there's so many episodes where we're given like a moral kind of lesson, and this is yet another one of those. And it ended with the very awful lynching of the guy, the slave. Yeah, not easy to watch that kind of stuff. And the show does go there. It doesn't shy away from really confronting imagery. We've seen a lot of sexual assault. We've seen a lot of death, war. And now we're seeing this. I mean, at least they're not afraid of kind of really going there. And that's what this show does quite well.
It does, especially that particular scene that you're talking about. Even like the few scenes leading up to that one, it really does. It does hit, like, bowl you over. And so, but watching Claire do what she does at the end of the episode, you see her in a turmoil because she has taken this oath to, as the episode title says, to do no harm. And Jamie, of all people, understands the point of an oath. He takes them really seriously. So he understands where she's coming from. And so the turmoil that she has, does she let the mob take this slave, or does she help him in some way or another? And then that's where they're her two choices, and which is the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. The other thing that this episode brings back is Dr. Claire. So she goes into doctor mode. She does it quite a lot. In this one, she saves Rufus, but then she has to euthanize him towards the end in Jocasta's house. And it's pretty awful. But she's been in this situation on many occasions where she goes into doctor mode. It's the best example of Claire being that very smart, capable, independent woman that we all love and admire, and that Katrina Balfe plays so perfectly.
She does, and as she's preparing to euthanize Rufus, I'm like, yeah, I was speechless. I just watched with bated breath. I thought it was beautifully done, despite it being heartbreaking. It was beautifully done.
So this brings me to this. I mean, let's get slightly more superficial. Aunt Jocasta, we finally get to see her. I know how much you have been looking forward to this. I don't even know who the hell she is, but you've read the books and she's one of your favorite characters.
She would, to me, and I'm probably going to get some backlash from this, she is the Claire of that century. She's tough as nails. She came to the new world long before most of the influx at that particular moment. She's made a name for herself. Spoilers. She's made a name for herself. You know, she runs this property because her husband has passed away, by herself and with the help of her slaves. You know, she even prides herself on the fact that she keeps her slaves in very good conditions and that they're all very happy to be there. She was just, I've been looking forward to seeing this character ever since you interviewed Sam Heughan when he came to Sydney.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second, actually, because I think we've got some really good stories to tell from that day. But before we do, the best thing about Aunt Jocasta is she's being played by Maria Doyle Kennedy, who we adore. Oh. And just for some background, first of all, she was on Orphan Black, that you love especially. I thought was a great show too.
Yes.
But more importantly, we used to watch The Tudors before our kids were born, back when we were staying with my parents for a few months while we were renovating our home, and loved her then, loved her as Catherine of Aragon, want to go on like a tour of Great Britain to see all the sites where Catherine of Aragon lived and died. And she played her so fantastically. I've always been a fan of hers, and to see her on this show playing this iconic character is really exciting for me, let alone for you. You're beside yourself.
Oh, I am. When I found out through the internet, I don't even remember where I read it now, probably Twitter. But when I heard she was going to be Aunt Jocasta, I was like, yes, almost Mrs. S is back. So yeah, I was sad to see the end of Orphan Black, and now I get to see her again. I'm excited.
Just a tad. So there was a day a few years ago where I got the opportunity to interview Sam Heughan in Sydney, and that was a really exciting day for me. And I thought, why don't you just come along? We'll never know, you might get to meet him. But you didn't just get to meet the guy, you got to hug him and talk to him and give him a gift, and he was very, very accommodating. He was a lovely guy. You've also obviously spoken to him a few times on all the various webcam interviews that I've done with the cast, him and Katrina. But what's your favorite memory from that day in that lovely 5-star luxury hotel where we got to meet Sam Heughan?
Well, okay, just to completely fangirl it, just meeting him, full stop. That was the start. Yes, I then went completely fangirling and I gave him a gift, which was a stuffed red kangaroo. I've never done that before in my life. So I don't know if Sam still has it. Do you? If you're watching this, let me know. But one of my favorite things that I tried to get out of him was I'd heard a rumor that somebody else was going to be Aunt Jocasta. And I'm like, so who's going to, like, this is after filming. I'm like, so who's going to be Aunt Jocasta? Man, he kept his lips shut. He completely ignored the question. So I did try.
Yeah. He was pretty cool. He was very, very friendly, and he was probably super tired from doing lots and lots of interviews. And yet he gave us quite a lot of time, and we took some photos, and it was a very cool day. Yeah, so that was fun. All right, well, I think that's it for episode 2. We'll probably reconvene for episode 3. But before I go, everybody, don't forget, when you're looking for Outlander coverage, there's nothing really better than Gold Derby. You can follow us at Gold Derby on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can follow me at Robert Licuria on Twitter. Where can they follow you?
I'm on Twitter at Paula Licuria.
There you go. Well, please go ahead and do that. We've got plenty more Outlander to come. Check out all of our galleries. and we'll see you next week.